Big news landed this week. Former Chief Safety Mathieu, who officially announced his retirement in July 2025, was on Kay Adams' Up and Adams at Arrowhead and didn't flatly rule out a return to the NFL or to Kansas City, saying basically that he wouldn't say no if the right situation came along. That's the headline you just heard everywhere. And it matters because Mathieu isn't just any former player. He helped change the Chiefs' culture when he arrived, and he was a key piece of the 2019 Super Bowl defense, which is why fans still get excited when his name pops up. On the surface, the takeaway is simple. The Honey Badger teasing a comeback creates buzz, offers a short-term emotional lift for Chiefs Kingdom, and forces the front office to at least consider the optics and the football need. But let's keep this grounded for a second. Mathieu retired earlier in the summer. The official announcements are on file. And what he said on Kay Adams's segment was teasy and non-committal, not a press conference announcing a return. So the sensible first reaction is this: treat it as credible curiosity from a respected vet, not as an imminent roster move. Why that matters now is twofold. First, the Chiefs have shown a willingness to bring back familiar faces when they think it helps the locker room or on-field communication. Second, the team is at a point in the season where short-term veteran help can swing momentum, even if that help isn't a full-time starter. That's the angle we'll unpack in the next chapters. What Mathieu's presence could realistically do for the defense in 2025, what the roster would have to change to accommodate him, and whether the upside, leadership, ball skills, hype, outweighs the downside, age, physical decline, roster spot. Before we dive deeper, do me a favor. Hit like if you want more rapid reaction videos like this, and if you haven't already, subscribe to help us hit our goal of 6,000 subscribers. It really helps this channel reach more Chiefs fans. Mathieu didn't arrive in Kansas City as a flashy long-term headline grabber. He arrived as a proven playmaker and a culture-shifting veteran who immediately changed how the Chiefs' defensive backfield communicated and competed. When the Chiefs signed him in 2019, the move was straightforward football logic. A versatile defensive back who could roam, cover slot receivers, and create turnovers. And the results were obvious that season. Mathieu helped anchor a unit that culminated in a Super Bowl victory and earned himself league-wide recognition for his impact. What made Mathieu special for Kansas City wasn't just the number of splash plays on the stat sheet. He's a multi-year playmaker across his career. It was the leadership and attitude he brought. The sideline urgency, the pre-snap communication, the knack for making young defensive teammates play up to a standard. Those intangible contributions are exactly why fans still light up when his name comes up. Now let's be realistic about the on-field fit in 2025. Mathieu announced his retirement in July 2025, so the baseline fact is that he stepped away from the game this offseason. What he said on Kay Adams' segment, that he wouldn't say no to a Chiefs return, is a non-committal tease rather than an official reversal. Treat it like a veteran expressing curiosity, not a roster move already in place. Football-wise, Mathieu's skill set is still potentially useful even if he's no longer the three-down monster he was at his peak. Positional versatility, safety, slot coverage, occasional nickel, ball skills, and the kind of short-burst intimidation that creates mismatches on passing downs. But there are trade-offs: age, wear and tear, and some decline in tackling and range as players get older are real concerns. Teams signing recently retired vets often intend to use them situationally, as mentors, or as emotional leaders more than as 16-game starters. So what would Mathieu bring to a 2025 Chiefs team in practical terms? First, immediate leadership. You'd get a veteran voice on the field and in the meeting room that understands the system, which shortens the learning curve for a patchwork secondary or a young safety learning zone principles. Second, situational ball hawking. Mathieu can still be schemed into obvious passing downs to try to force turnovers or bait quarterbacks. Third, marketing and morale. The Honey Badger is a crowd pleaser who can rally fan energy and clubhouse confidence that matters when momentum is fragile. On the flip side, signing him would cost a roster spot and a chunk of practice time devoted to keeping him game ready. There's also the risk that he's not in full game shape after a retirement, making him more of a decorative depth piece than a reliable on-field upgrade. Bottom line, if you're a fan who values short-term leadership and the emotional lift of a familiar veteran, Mathieu's return makes sense as a conditional, low-commitment addition, week-to-week or practice squad to active flexibility. If you prefer long-term roster development and younger players getting snaps, you'll be skeptical. Which side are you on? Drop a quick comment. Which veteran signing mattered most to the Chiefs' last title? Tyrann Mathieu or someone else? I'll pull the best replies for Chapter 4. And if you're enjoying this breakdown, hit like and subscribe. We're pushing to 6,000 subscribers, so more Chiefs fans see these rapid reaction takes. Let's get pragmatic. What would it actually look like for the Chiefs to add Tyrann Mathieu right now? And what would they be giving up to get the upside? Start with the roster picture you already gave me, and that we're using as our November 20th, 2025 cutoff. The Chiefs have Patrick Mahomes running the offense, a WR group led by Rashee Rice, Juju, and Hollywood Brown, RB depth, with Isaiah Pacheco and Kareem Hunt, and a defense built around Chris Jones, George Karlaftis, Nick Bolton, Trent McDuffie, and Brian Cook. That core matters because any addition, even a short-term veteran like Mathieu, has to fit behind or alongside those players without wrecking long-term development. In short, there's limited wiggle room on the 53-man roster, and every spot you give to a veteran is a snap and a development opportunity taken from a younger player. So how could the Chiefs realistically use Mathieu? There are 3 realistic deployment scenarios. 1. Situational veteran. Signing. You bring him in on a short, low-cost deal. Keep him game-ready for specific packages, obvious passing downs, dime packages, or as a slot roaming safety on third downs, and limit his snaps. 2. Practice squad to active flexibility. The team signs him under a short-term arrangement with weekly elevations when needed, using the modern practice squad rules to flip him active for game day without committing a long-term roster spot. 3. Leadership, mentorship role. Sign him primarily for the locker room, special teams presence, and to mentor young DBs while only playing him sparingly. Each has upside, instant leadership, schematic familiarity, and a chance for high-leverage plays. And each has real costs. Roster churn, practice reps eaten by a veteran, and the chance he's not at peak physical form after retirement. There are some concrete football risks to weigh. Mathieu's tackling and range could be diminished compared to his prime, which matters against modern slot and tight end threats. If the Chiefs expect him to be a 3-down replacement for someone like Brian Cook, or to cover high-motion slot receivers for full games, that's probably unrealistic. Another risk is conditioning. A retired player needs time and practice reps to regain game speed. If he's elevated too quickly, he could be a liability in run fits or chasing sideline plays. Finally, there's roster optics and young player development. Adding milestone veterans repeatedly can stunt the growth of a younger safety who needs reps to learn through real game reps. So what could a practical, low-risk contract look like? Without getting into exact money, the likely structures are a week-to-week veteran minimum deal, allows quick out if it doesn't work, a practice squad arrangement with limited elevations, gives the club flexibility without immediately losing a 53rd roster spot, or a short-term 1-year veteran minimum contract with performance training guarantees that protect the team if he can't pass a physical. In every scenario, the team will insist on a medical check and team conditioning plan before any activation. If you're imagining a blockbuster mid-season signing that immediately plugs every defensive hole, that's unrealistic. The smartest path is an audition-style, low-commitment approach that preserves roster flexibility. Finally, consider the intangible X-factor value. Mathieu shortens the learning curve because he already knows, or knows how, to communicate in this system. That can buy the coaching staff precious practice time while they repair or shuffle the secondary. He also brings a morale spark and media attention that can lift a team in a tight stretch. But remember, hype doesn't win football games by itself. The value here is conditional. Real if used surgically, special packages, mentoring, occasional special teams, and negligible if the team expects him to be a three-down savior. Quick poll for you right now. Choose one and drop why. Would you sign Tyrann Mathieu to the Chiefs right now? A. Week-to-week veteran deal. B. Practice squad, weekly elevation. C. Don't sign him. Explain your pick in one sentence. I'll read fan replies in Chapter 4. If you're finding these breakdowns useful, hit like and subscribe. We're still pushing for 6,000 subscribers so more Chiefs fans can see this analysis. All right, time to wrap this up cleanly. You've heard the tease, the legacy case, and the roster realities. Fans are split, and that's understandable. Half of Chiefs Kingdom loves the idea of a familiar locker room voice and a playmaker who can still change a single high-leverage play. The other half wants younger players earning snaps and worries a reunion would be more sentimental than strategic. Both perspectives are valid. Here's my short, practical verdict. Conditional yes, with strict parameters. Why a conditional yes? Because Mathieu's biggest immediate value is non-traditional. Leadership, shortened learning curve, situational ball hawking, and the kind of emotional lift that can flip a locker room's momentum. If the Chiefs are considering him, the smartest approach is a low-commitment audition, practice squad flexibility, or a week-to-week veteran minimum deal with clear activation conditions and a medical talk conditioning gate. That lets the team capture the upside: mentoring, targeted defensive packages, special teams help, while minimizing the downside: roster churn, lost reps for developmental players, and the risk of a retired player not being game-ready. Why pass or be skeptical? Because the cost isn't only dollars. It's practice snaps, roster flexibility, and the message to younger safeties who need in-game reps to grow. If the Chiefs expect Mathieu to be a three-down full-time replacement, that's unrealistic and likely harmful. If the team's plan is surgical usage, specific packages, leadership in meetings, and short elevations when matchups favor him, the move can make sense and won't block long-term plans. What to watch for in the next 7 to 14 days? Concrete signs that something real is happening. A public or leaked visit to the Chiefs' facility, reports of a private workout, a physical medical clearance update, a short-term practice squad signing, or language from team spokespeople indicating they've initiated contact. If you see practice visit or a week-to-week signing reported, that's the real audition signal. If it's only media teases with no facility time or medical checks, treat it as friendly noise. Now your part, engagement time. I want to feature real fan replies in the video. Drop a single letter in the comments right now. Why if you'd sign Mathieu to the Chiefs under a low-commitment deal, N if you wouldn't. And add one short reason. I'll read the most interesting replies in the follow-up. Also, vote in the pinned poll. Would you prefer the Chiefs prioritize veteran reinforcements or young player development down the stretch? Final ask. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit like and subscribe. We're pushing to 6,000 subscribers so more Chiefs fans see these rapid reactions.